This is a skills training video on a volleyball dig. It involves foot movement and correct arm placement so that the ball can be hit in a precise area of the arm. The volleyball dig aims to soften serves and spikes made by an opposition in a game situation, and also has to be hit at particular targets such as team players. This video will explore precise movement of muscles and also how we can learn, remember and problem solve specific areas of a volleyball dig. One-dimensional classification. A volleyball dig is a gross motor skill as it requires primary musculature of the arms and legs. It is a discrete movement as it is specific where it begins and it ends. There is some elements of continuous movement throughout training sessions. It is an open skill. The ball is in motion prior to the dig being performed. There are also surrounding players that may also be in motion. This requires diversification and change in different circumstances. Two-dimensional classification. During a volleyball dig, the body is in motion and the volleyball is being manipulated. During training, the environment is static and there is inter-trial variability, making it quite complex. However, in a game, the environment becomes dynamic, making it even more complex. A pretest was conducted to measure motor performance. The player was required to receive 15 passes over the net and dig them to a specific player. There was a large inconsistency in performance and variability in error. Drill 1 consisted of arm movement and positioning in order to hit the ball with the correct area of the forearm. In Drill 2, the chair was discarded and the player was encouraged to move their arms to either side of them in order to hit the ball. In Drill 3, a volleyball was wedged underneath the learner's arms. This encouraged them to use their legs and reduced arm swing. In Drill 4, a chair was added, encouraging the player to keep low and use their legs. The final drill incorporated all of the previous drills, requiring the learner to pass the ball to themselves twice and then to a specific target on the wall. This encouraged task-intrinsic feedback and self-teaching. Week 1 reflected the early stage of Fitz and Posner's three-stage model of learning, that is, the verbal and cognitive stage. The task was completely new to the learner, there were a large number of errors seen, and the performance variability was high. Blocked and part practice were employed so the learner could understand the different movements within a volleyball dig. Guided discovery learning was used to direct the learner's visual attention to the important phases of the action and let them discover the meaning of the verbal cues for themselves. Cue words included midline, middle of forearm, go wide, go low, and go long. The first lot of drills for week 2 were all about tracking and transitioning. The first drill involved tracking forwards and then transitioning back to receive the ball. The second, transitioning back to guide the ball back into play. And the third were drills using fast feet to move forwards and dig the ball. Cue words included eye on the ball, on your toes, and weight forward. Complexity was increased with drill number 4. The learner had to receive from one person and pass to another target, whilst moving between 2 cones. The next lot of drills was all about footwork. The learner receives the ball from alternating left and right continuously for 20 digs. This then progresses to random passes to either side, making the learner have to anticipate where to receive the ball from. This drill used the pole as a training aid to keep the body low. It encouraged short, fast shuffles. The final drill was a progression of the previous week, with only one pass in between each dig. Week 2 saw the learner move from a cognitive stage into a more motor associative stage. This included improved organisation, fewer errors, and lower variability in trials. Progressions were made to more random and whole practice, focusing on the entire pattern of movement for a dig. Guided discovery learning progressed to discovery learning, encouraging the correct technique and knowledge of performance of the skill. Drill 1 was a progression of wall work, simply continuous passing against the wall, aiming to hit a target. In the second drill, the learner is facing away from her partner. She hears the verbal cue, go. She then turns and digs a sudden pass. In the following drill, the learner receives an overhand throw from her partner. She then runs and touches the wall behind her and has to be back ready to receive the next pass. The following drill focused on ball control, with the learner passing the ball up to herself before passing it over the net to her partner. Cue words include high pass, use your legs, no swinging. The following drills were focused passing drills. The first one, a triangle drill, receiving from the left, passing to the right. Cue words include guide the ball and use your legs. In the following drill, the learner receives the ball from her partner, moving to the left, forward, right, and back of the court. A progression is then made where the learner's partner throws the ball to either 4 of the areas of the court. In this drill, the learner receives the ball at each cone, moving in a zigzag formation across the court. In the following drill, the learner receives an oncoming pass from the other side of the net. She must dig it up high and catch it herself. In week 3, the learner was able to identify her own errors, decrease her performance variability, and reaction time. Drills were random and whole practice, with focus shifting from performance to outcome variability. The learner was familiar with instructions, verbal cues, and visual cues. The learner passed the ball to herself continuously for 3 minutes, aiming for complete control. Drill 2 saw the learner receive the ball over the net, touch 3 times, and then pass it back to her target. Drill 3 was just a progression to 2 touches, then back over the net. The next drill saw the learner receive the ball over the net, dig to a separate target, turn and touch the wall, and be ready for the next pass. The next lot of training consisted of 4 drills. It started with an easy set over the net, and the learner had to hit to a different target. This progressed to a lob over the net with greater distance apart. The learner then received a faster ball from an overhead hit. This finally progressed to a full court power serve. Week 4 saw a continued intermediate stage, with the learner frequently identifying errors and adjusting them. Attentional demands were lower and there was better coordination. Practice employed game-orientated situations. Discovery learning was encouraged, drills became familiar to the learner with little instruction required. Visual cues became dominant and verbal cues were employed when necessary. The first 4 drills of week 5 imitated that of week 4, however, a black curtain was used to cover the volleyball net. This training aid was used to increase the reaction time, as time is limited once the ball is visible. This intended to replicate a game situation. The final drill was receiving the ball from 3 different areas of the court, again replicating a game situation. Week 5 saw the learner with fewer errors, low variability in trials, low attentional demands, higher coordination, some autonomous and reflexive movements. Practice was outcome-orientated and discovery learning encouraged, as drills and instructions were already known. A retention test was completed 1 week after the 5-week training program. Clear improvements and learned traits were obvious, with the learner hitting 12 out of 15 digs. Demonstrations were given in weeks 1 to 3 of the training program, and fewer were needed in weeks 4 and 5. Motivation was used as a positive arousal mechanism for the learner. This video demonstrates the correct way to construct a training program, analyze performance, and provide feedback to a novice learning the skill of a dig.